This is not an uncommon sight at the Salt Lake City International Airport. Refugees arriving from all over the world to a warm embrace. Today, they're from Somalia and Nepal. Among those here to welcome them and help them is Martha Archuleta.
You've been here 2 years?
A volunteer with Catholic Community Services.
It's an opportunity for me to live out my faith. Christ gave us the example of caring for the poor and welcoming the stranger in our midst.
About 1,200 refugees will arrive here this year to a place that stands out, particularly among red conservative states, for its attitude toward refugees. They are welcomed here, unlike at least 30 other states that have said they are not welcome, especially those from Syria. That's where Khulud Abu Arida came from, along with her husband and 3 children.
Was it dangerous there?
Yes. And my husband 2 times went to jail. My children not safe for them.
Makes you wonder what's going on in their minds when they get here. Aidan Batar is the Director of Immigration and Refugee Resettlement for Catholic Community Services. There are over 60,000 refugees now living in Utah. He says there is an important distinction between being classified as an immigrant and as a refugee.
An immigrant is somebody who left their country on their choice for a better future and better life. A refugee have to show a well-founded fear of persecution based on religious persecution, political opinion, based on membership in a social group, and so forth. So the refugees have to meet that definition in order for them to be given a refugee status.
Aidan himself is a refugee and a Muslim. In Somalia, he was a practicing lawyer who fled his country in 1996.
I left my home country, Somalia, because of the civil war that started back in 1990. If it hasn't been the civil war, I would not have left my home country. I was forced to flee after losing a family member.
States that don't want refugees are concerned that there will be terrorists among them, but Aidan Batar says that fear is unfounded. The vetting process, he says, is exhaustive. First, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees must determine that an individual or family qualifies as a refugee. That's a small percentage. Then the U.S. sends investigators to the camps.
Then they have to go to a screening process where they be fingerprinted, their names will be checked against a multiple database. The FBI, the CIA, and can check those individuals to make sure they are not linked with a terrorist, to make sure they don't have any criminal background.
The process on average takes 2 years and longer.
I understand why people have the fear, but refugees are not the ones that are harming this country. Ever since the refugee resettlement program started back in the 70s, we have more than 3 million successfully resettled in the United States. And those refugees are contributing members of our society.
Back in Syria, Khulud was a teacher of Arabic in Damascus. Now she drives a forklift at the LDS or Mormon Humanitarian Center. She eventually hopes to teach here.
So scary, because everything here different. Culture, people, everything, and language, so hard. Yeah, but no, now, yeah, we love America. Yeah, and people here in Utah, very friendly.
Her husband is a chef. Their 3 children attend public school. This is Noor. She's 16.
I learned English so fast and everything was quickly for me. I don't want to go back to Syria because I start my new life here. I start my new future here.
For 4 hours each weekday, Khulud and about 200 other refugees work sorting out clothing to be sent around the world. Tomorrow is payday, so everyone is wearing a smile.
What time will you?
In the afternoon, they learn English and how to get a job.
Refugees, after 6 months they've been in the country, when they get their first job, they're required to pay back their airfare.
For Khulud's family, airfare cost $8,000. That's one reason there are classes like this one about personal finance.
If you get a job within the first 6 months, while we're paying your bills, save as much as you can, because tomorrow you're going to need a car.
The minute refugees arrive in the U.S. after being fingerprinted and another background check, they are given legal status to work, to go to school, and get benefits such as Medicaid. There's a furnished apartment waiting for them with furniture donated from throughout Utah. Everyone must learn English.
What will you say?
We do some things that are very practical with families, like teaching them the public transportation system, the grocery store, how to operate sometimes a washer and dryer. But our very most important role is being their friend and being a person that they can trust from the larger community.
Imam Muhammad Metar immigrated from South Africa and arrived in Utah 9 years ago. He says Utah is benefiting from welcoming refugees.
They've gotten diversity. They've gotten more businesses now that want to come to Utah because they don't look at Utah as a state that wants to divide individuals. And I think if you want to call this an experiment, it has worked very well in their favor, economically, socially, politically, all around, I think.
It's not only Mormons and Catholics who are supporting refugees. There are dozens of nonprofit organizations and individuals from all faith groups who chip in.
If you look at the Mormons themselves, have been persecuted. They've been there. They understand what a persecution means.
People here say the reason Utah is so welcoming to refugees is because the early settlers themselves were refugees. They were fleeing religious persecution all across the country to get here. Their leader and many of their men were murdered. Because so many Mormon converts came from Europe, President Rutherford B. Hayes asked Europe not to let any more migrate. So people here do empathize. And it's not only Mormons.
Islam teaches us to love our neighbors, to love one another, and also to help those who are most in need. That's what my faith teaches me, and that's what I believe.
Emily Stevens is a Mormon. She works for the Amar Foundation, an international nonprofit that provides health care and education to people living in refugee camps in Iraq.
To see what 30,000 people look like in one camp, which is more than the population of the town I live in, it really changed my perspective. A lot of them spoke really great English, they had college educations, they were just like me.
I'm Mormon and Fatu is Muslim. I think we just support each other in the ways that we connect with God.
In March, LDS church leaders launched a campaign called I Was a Stranger, based on the biblical mandate to welcome the stranger, asking members to donate their time and efforts to the refugee cause.
Certainly there's no expectation or hope that people are going to be converting as a result. I do hope that at the end they have a warmer feeling about us and they think, oh, those Mormons, they're good people.
Don't judge the Muslim. They are not all the same. The same thing happened with us. Like, we thought American people, they're gonna be nice with us or something like that. But no, when we start to know them, they are really nice people.
After 5 years, refugees like Khaloud's family can apply for U.S. citizenship. For Religion and Ethics News Weekly, I'm Lucky Severson in Salt Lake City.